Okay, so dedications to all the soldiers protecting Klal Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, Medinat Yisrael, put their lives on the line. May they be protected and be successful in their mission and return home unscathed, and help in the rescue and repatriation of the hostages, and a reverse shleima for all the cholim of Klal Yisrael.
Amen. Amen.
Just a short idea. Can I give it across?
Yeah, sure.
So the story, it's a very complicated story in this week's part. This part is full of interesting incidents and stories and events. And the one very weird or interesting one is that of Yehuda and Tamar. So Yehuda's two sons were married and subsequently died. And then one was married to Tamar. I think both were married to Tamar. And then he sees Tamar on the road, dressed up like a prostitute, and has relations with her, and she eventually becomes pregnant. And I think he forgets about it. And then what happens is she becomes pregnant. In those days, pregnancy out of wedlock was worthy of the death sentence. So she says she had things that he gave to her, like a signet ring and one or two other items. And she said, someone must please identify it. And he actually owned up to it. And this is a lesson for people taking responsibility. He could have said, he could have just avoided it. And he was a very obviously one of the Shvatim, one of the 12 tribes, one of the fathers. And he didn't put his reputation in the way of his responsibility to admit, because he could have not admitted and let her get executed, but he didn't do that, and he took responsibility for what he did. And many leaders of the world or captains of industry don't do such things these days. So this is an example of someone who took responsibility, even though it was probably embarrassing. He did the right thing.
Good, excellent.
Wow.
I think that takes a lot of courage.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he really was the father of the 12 tribes.
Now, he was one of
One of
Jacob's sons. He was one of the
Yeah,
12 tribes.
But he
Yeah.
had a kid, right? He was a father.
Ah, yeah,
He was
exactly.
father.
Arthur.
Yeah, Luke, I'm a
What? You know what he said about the relations? Anyway, carry on.
All right, so tonight and tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh.
Okay. Sorry, Damon. I'm going to call him Mac Arthur at the moment. Okay, sorry. Yeah, carry on. He's outside McDonald's.
We can use the word Maccabee then.
No, Maccabee, Mac Arthur, and McDonald's.
That's actually more appropriate. But
Yeah, Maccabee, Mac Arthur, yeah.
In the same sentence, there's probably a non-kosher.
Yeah. That one's kosher.
Okay,
sorry, Damon.
All right. Kev, I was going to say that tonight, just remember, everybody, it's Chodesh.
Rosh Chodesh.
Yeah, so it's quite significant, especially in Hanukkah. It's the only Rosh Chodesh that coincides with the Chag, I suppose, apart from Rosh Hashanah. It is pretty significant. All right, so listen, I tell you where we were at yesterday. Everybody seemed to have a bit of brain fog. All I was saying is that Rav Zaved has another stipulation in addition to Rav Chisda. Because Rav Chisda said if it's a third party, whether it's a purchaser or somebody that happened to go for Shabbos and consume an item that wasn't theirs, but their host was the person that actually stole it, they're responsible for replacing it. Except if Yehush has taken place of the change of domain, at which case it belongs to the buyer or the third party, but the thief would have to reimburse the amount. You just can't bring an article back where despair has already taken place, but the third party isn't responsible after Yehush. That's what Rav Chisda said. Rav Zaved said there's another aspect under consideration, and that is which came first, the change of domain or the despair, because we're holding two different opinions. So this is the point. Rav Yochanan holds that if there was first despair and afterwards a change of domain, the buyer acquires the stolen property because it's happening in the right order. Okay. And also, it was a bit premature for the original owner to fatigue at getting his item back. If, however, there was a change of domain and afterwards despair, it does not benefit the third party or the purchaser. Simple reason is that it's a normal human reaction, according to Rav Yochanan, to say that what happens is that somebody feels he'll track the thief, but by the time the thief has sold it on Gumtree, despair's kicked in. And we say, no, the third party, the purchaser, doesn't get away that easily, because he should have had responsibility where he bought the goods from, and that there's a certain amount of legitimacy and it wasn't stolen. So in that order, Rav Yochanan says it doesn't get acquired by the purchaser at all. Rav says it makes no difference in which order the despair happens, if there was a change of domain first or after despair. As long as there's despair, it's acquired by the purchaser. Okay, even if the goods are stolen or the third party. Okay, so that's what we've got to bear in mind, and that's all we actually dealt with yesterday. There was just so much brain fog and fatigue all around that people were battling. Just hang on a sec. I'm just pausing the share.
Hey, Damon.
Yeah.
Sheldon's fetching me at 5:40.
Okay. So,
Okay.
all right.
He'll call me as soon as he calls me. I'll let you know. I've got my phone on. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to
Okay.
pause the share now. It seems Gavin's disappeared. I don't know where he's gone.
You
Arthur's.
said you were pausing it. I'm busy warming something up to eat.
I'm
but,
sorry,
I'll
Gav.
do it in between.
There was somebody at the doorbell, but there's so many people ringing here all the time that and just sometimes they're on the doorbell. Sometimes I can get them stuff, and sometimes I can't. And I don't blame them. They're a very difficult time for them. So one can't get frustrated. Now, that was the third explanation of the difference between Rav and Rav Yochanan. Now, there's a fourth explanation according to Rav Pappa, who said, with respect, he's using a different example, Rav Pappa, compared to Rav Zavid. So Rav Pappa said, with respect to the stolen cloak itself, Rav and Rav Yochanan agree that it must be returned to the owner. Now, in Rav Pappa's view, Rav and Rav Yochanan speak of a situation prior to Yosh, and both accept Rav Chista's ruling that in such a situation, the owner has a claim against the buyer. Therefore, the buyer must return the stolen article, whether it's a jacket or a car, etc., without compensation. Even if he has a rabbinic right to compensation from the owner under the remedy of the marketplace clause, he's got to nevertheless surrender the article immediately, and he's forbidden to withhold it as security for his payment. Rashi is saying the rabbinical right does not supersede the biblical right in the sense that the item has to be returned first, and then if there's any biblical enactment, that has to be dealt with as a separate issue. And Rav Pappa is saying that they disagree as to whether the rabbinate apply the remedy of the marketplace in this particular case when the thief has been discovered. So again, when the thief's identity is not discovered, Kevin, why is there the remedy of the marketplace?
Well, the remedy of the marketplace is that's to make good a loss for the owner. So you're saying what?
For the purchaser.
Oh, for the purchaser, so no one can be prejudiced.
Yeah, and that's only at the point where the thief has disappeared, because the purchaser has got no recourse legally against the seller if he packs up his stall at the Rosebank flea market and no one hears from him. But the minute the thief is discovered, the remedy of the marketplace, according to the primary opinion, or certainly according to the Gemara, our Mishnah stating that the remedy of the marketplace doesn't kick in necessarily if the identity is being discovered, for a very, very simple reason. And that is that at the end of the day, if you bought something, Kevin, if you bought something, then you can sell, you can get hold of the seller and your legal cases with him. As the original owner, I'm entitled to get that article back. I have no right to pay you as the original owner. It's mine. You have a right to claim it back from the person who sold it to you because the thief is identified. When the thief is unidentified, then if I want it back, according to the rabbinic remedy of the marketplace, I have to pay you to get it back if it means that much to me. According to the biblical opinion, you hand it over, irrespective of whether you paid for it. That's your problem. But rabbinically, I'm entitled to compensate you for it, but only when the identity of the thief, guys, is not disclosed. Because if it is the purchaser that has to basically, what do you call it, own up to that responsibility of not doing proper due diligence when purchasing. The original owner, how is it his fault in any way that it was stolen from him? It's not. So Rav Pappa is bringing this particular point, Yaakov.
Could it be also because the thief's identity or the thief's whereabouts are not known? It's as if the buyer becomes the thief, so to speak, if in that case. And I mean, unfortunately for him, he's like the thief because he's in possession of the stolen.
It's the opposite way around, completely the opposite. So that's why I wanted to clarify this. Kev, as you purchase something from the Rosebank flea market, okay? If you went to the Rosebank flea market and after being accosted by somebody in the street and say, listen, that's my item, I can show you identifying marks, hand it over. In that particular case, you've got no remedy if the seller has packed up and left and you've got no way of identifying it. In order for the buyer to get it from you, he has to pay you for it. He has to pay you for it because you don't have a way to sue the seller. The seller's identity has disappeared. In a case where the Rosebank flea market has got 100 people coming up to them and say they're all purchased from this guy and it's all stolen goods, and they have a way to track the seller, that's your problem that you purchased it from the seller. It's not my problem when it belongs to me as the original owner, because you've got recourse and a way to trace the original seller whose identity of the thief has now been discovered. So the remedy of the marketplace, according to our Mishnah, doesn't apply when the thief's identity is known. Okay? Because accordingly, Rav Yochanan is stating that the case that you have, the case that you have is against the buyer. According to Rav, it's only against the thief. So we're talking about a situation when the thief is discovered. So when the thief is discovered, Rav is going to turn around and say, Kevin, as the purchaser, has still got the remedy of the marketplace working for him. Okay? That's how it looks superficially on the Mishnah. And that's according to Rav Yochanan, who said that you've got buyer's protection. According to Rav, the minute the identity of the thief is discovered, you've only got a claim against the thief, because Kevin purchased it from the thief / seller, and Kevin's job is to get it back. I, as the original owner, don't have to compensate Kevin. Okay, according to Rav, I don't have to compensate Kevin because the thief's identity has been discovered. According to Rav Yochanan, I can also sue Kevin as far as that's concerned. But Kevin's remedy is a different situation. Do you see what I'm saying about thief discovery? Guys, it's a simple concept.
Yeah.
But it's the owner's property, and that's it. It's not his responsibility to chase after the thief. The buyer, in it's common sense that we shouldn't buy stolen goods. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
even though it was in good faith by the buyer. I mean, it wasn't his intention, but that belongs, it's not his property. It belongs to the original owner.
Yeah. So according to Rav Pappa, he's saying, look, at the end of the day, we want to know if we apply this remedy of the marketplace or we don't, if the thief has been discovered. So, Arthur, please put your, somebody's on, or must go on mute. I don't know where the background noise is coming from. It's not from
Let me
me.
go off. No, I think there's people.
It's not me because I'm.
No, I
It's
saw.
not
Sorry,
me.
mate. I'm sorry.
The author was off.
So we want to know, according to Rav Pappa, if the remedy of the marketplace occurs when the thief is discovered. That is, after the buyers returned the stolen cloak to the owner, did the rabbis grant him the right to compensation from the owner for the money he lost, or is his only option to sue the thief, who is the guy that he purchased from? So Rav said, in the name of Rav Chia, the claim of the buyer is only against the first one, the thief, and not against the owner. So that is the law with respect to the buyer, is that he can recover his money only from the thief. And the reason is the rabbis did not apply the remedy of the marketplace in this case, as the identity was known, and the buyer has got a way to extract the money legally from the thief, and therefore is entitled to get his money. But according to Rav Yochanan, who said in the name of Rav Yanai, the claim of the buyer is also against the owner. That is with respect to the buyer, that he can recover his money from the owner. And the reason is the rabbis did apply the remedy of the marketplace in this case. So the Gemara says, well, how do we know this? According to Rav Pappa, that this is his interpretation of Rav Yochanan. So Rav in this case, to me, it seems more fair, because he's saying there's no remedy of the marketplace when the identity of the thief is known, simply because the purchaser has a person to go to get his money back. And why should the original owner have to pay to get his stuff back? According to Rav Yochanan, the buyer can recover his money even from the owner, because there's the remedy of the marketplace. It's difficult to understand. So the Gemara says, and does Rav hold that they did not apply the remedy of the marketplace when the thief has been discovered? So it's saying, is this consistent with Rav? Because Rav Huna, who was a disciple of Rav, ruled to the contrary in the following incident. When Hanan the wicked stole a cloak and sold it, the owner came before Rav Huna for judgment. Rav Huna said to the man, go redeem your pledge. That is, pay the buyer compensation for the cloak. So Rav's own disciple applied the remedy of the marketplace even after the thief is discovered. So generally we say the student follows his rabbi or his master. So why would Rav Huna say the remedy of the marketplace occurs when Rav, his teacher, did not say that the remedy of the marketplace occurs when the thief has been discovered? So the Gemara said, listen, there was an exception in Rav Huna's case, because this guy was known as Hanan the Wicked. Because since there's no possibility for the buyer to collect compensation from him because he's broke, he has no money, it's as though he's not been discovered. And therefore, the only way the buyer can get the money back is to actually get the money back from the original owner. Because he hasn't got money to give, the seller hasn't got money to give the buyer back. So the Gemara says, hang on a second, there is a qualification for the remedy of the marketplace. According to Rava, if the seller was a known thief, they don't apply the remedy of the marketplace in that case, because the buyer should have realized that the goods might be stolen and he shouldn't have purchased them. So the buyer brought the loss upon himself and he can't expect the owner to compensate him. Okay. And the Gemara says, but okay, so if Hanan the Wicked was known as a thief, why would they apply the remedy of the marketplace in his case? And the Gemara said he was known for his wickedness, but not known for his thievery. In other words, he was generally a disgusting person. But there are people that maybe are very prolifically known for their temper, assault. They might not be thieves. Everybody's got bad character traits in different arenas, and therefore in this particular case, they're saying he was known as just not a good guy, but he wasn't necessarily known as a habitual thief around town. And therefore the remedy of the marketplace is applied in a case where Yochanan the Wicked didn't have any money to give back their purchaser. But I still have a problem with this, because I understand basically where Rav is coming from, that Rav is saying that if the thief of the identity is known, why should the original owner have to pay the buyer? And Rav Yochanan said the claim of the buyer is also against the owner. So I'm really battling to understand that, to be honest, because the owner did the least amount of wrong here, to be honest. I mean, there's got to be a reason, but I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
So there are also other limitations of the remedy of the marketplace. I just want to go through them quickly. So it was stated that if you're using stolen property to pay off a debt, or if you steal goods and paid for that which you bought on credit, okay? In other words, the remedy of the marketplace, the takanas hashuk, actually protects a buyer who gave money in exchange for a certain article, very specific article, he thought belonged to the seller. In these cases, however, the creditor did not lend money expecting to receive this particular item in return. He basically is not expecting to receive a particular note with a particular serial number. So in other words, he made the loan before the item was ever presented to him. And in that particular case, the rabbis didn't apply the remedy of the marketplace, because we can say to the lender, you didn't give him anything with the intention of receiving these particular goods. So therefore, if he pays you with those goods, that's your problem for not having checked that the currency was legitimate or it wasn't stolen goods, etc. That has nothing to do with the money you gave him. You've got to check that he pays you properly. It's different in the case of a purchaser who is expecting legitimate goods for the money he pays. So the remedy of the marketplace is only in a retail situation. It has nothing to do with paying off a debt. It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with items that you buy on credit. It's a completely different sort of level of specific protection. So what happens with stolen property used as a pledge? So if a borrower gives as a pledge, for example, stolen goods that were worth 200 zuz for a loan of 100 zuz. In other words, guys, you want to borrow 100,000 and you've got a car worth 250,000 rand, okay, at which you can get the 250. It's not that you say it's worth 250,000 rand. You've got the papers and everything else. We want to know, in that case, did they apply the remedy of the marketplace? Okay, in other words, one who lends money and takes a pledge as security is similar to a purchaser, the Gemara is proposing, because he gave money with some expectation that the pledge will eventually become his. It's almost as if it pointed to a particular article. It wasn't a loan, it was maybe to a particular property, for example, a movable asset. But if a borrower gives a pledge of stolen goods worth an amount equivalent to the loan, okay, Amimar says that they didn't apply the remedy of the marketplace in this case, whereas Marzutra says they did apply the remedy of the marketplace in this case, because according to Rav Zutra, it's not as if a loan was given and somebody said they would give over and promised to pay the security over X amount of period. There was a specific asset attached to it. So it's a similar case of purchasing a particular article. It's not like paying back a debt that's already been lent or stolen money, at which you've got no recourse if you paid with stolen money. Marzutra is not of the same opinion, who says there's a remedy of the marketplace compared to Amimar. Why does Amimar say they didn't apply the remedy of the marketplace? Because there was a usual practice in those days to take a pledge that's worth more than the loan. In other words, if you want to borrow 100,000 and you're only prepared to give me a property worth 100,000, according to the opinion of Mimar, you don't take it seriously, because you're going to turn around to the guy and say, you know what, I don't want to risk myself when the value of your property can go down. So I tell you what, why don't you just make your fixed asset into liquidity, and you use the cash and risk it yourself. Only if you've got something worth twice the value, even if it tanks in value, or even if it doesn't drop in value, even at a time when there wasn't inflation like during the Middle Ages, I would say that if I get to keep your 200 zuz house as collateral, you're going to come up with 100 zuz to pay me on 100 zuz that I lent you. So in other words, if you take more than you, if I take a security more than I lend you, it's a good chance that you're going to come up with the money not to lose an asset worth twice as much. But if you've got a house in Braamfontein worth 100,000, because that's all you're going to get for a little place in Braamfontein, as well as one skull cracked open, and you want 100,000. In that particular case, I'm not so happy about it, because now I gave you 100,000 worth of cash, and I've got to kind of find a buyer for your 100,000. It's not in any rush away that I'm going to get my liquidity back. It could be in the market for a long time. Whereas if Kevin had a property for 200,000, he's doing a business venture, needs 100,000, and he gives me a 200,000 rand property as a collateral, definitely doesn't want to lose double the money he borrowed. He'll figure out a very quick way to give me my money back. So Amimar says you only take it seriously when the pledge is double the amount of security, and then we apply the remedy of the marketplace. But if it's quid pro quo, we don't. Okay? If it's quid pro quo, we don't. And Rav Zutra said we do, because you're still covering your debt. So it's not a problem. And this is different to the previous case. Why is it different? Because this we're saying you are only borrowing the money once you've shown that you're prepared to take out a mortgage on a particular asset, and therefore it's on this asset I'm giving you the money. But if I've lent you the money already, and then I'm only going to get paid with something that's stolen, I've got no recourse because I lent you the money. I didn't lend you the money on the specificity of collateral of that asset, so the remedy of the marketplace wouldn't apply at all. So that's what's put in this case. Now, stolen property that's stole. If stolen goods were put up for sale, for example, and the buyer paid an amount equivalent to their value, they did apply the remedy of the marketplace in this case. Okay? I'll say this again. If stolen goods were put up for sale and the buyer paid an amount equivalent to their value, they did apply the remedy of the marketplace in this case. Now, I don't know why the Gemara is mentioning this, because this is the classic case of the remedy of the marketplace. But it's doing it to bring this other point, and that is, if stolen goods worth 100 zuz were sold for 200 zuz, Rav Sheshe says they did not apply the remedy of the marketplace in this case, because the goods were only worth 100 zuz and they were sold for 200 zuz. Why? Because I'll give you an example. The buyer can't collect from the owner even the 100 zuz that the goods were worth, because that extra 100 zuz were presumably intended as a gift to the seller. And since nobody generally pays double for something that's worth half that amount, we've got to assume that it was some sort of private deal, that there was some shenanigans or gifting going on, and it's not a sale at all, but an exchange of gifts, and something weird's going on. You don't pay twice for what something's worth. So therefore, the remedy of the marketplace is to remedy what the value of the goods are worth. Maybe you pay an extra 10%, but not double. So that's according to Rav Sheshes. Rav is saying they do apply the remedy of the marketplace, even in this case that you pay twice what the goods are worth. Let me give you an example when you would pay twice what the goods are worth. Say, for example, you're into collecting exotic cars. And this car, they might have made a certain number in the world. And generally, they're not in South Africa as a right-hand drive. They are left-hand drive because they come from America. So suddenly, a right-hand drive is on sale in South Africa, and you're a car collector, and money isn't. Just let me finish, Kev. Money isn't.
I need to go. He's waiting for me. Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to finish off on
Thanks.
this sentence.
One point.
second.
Okay, quickly. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'm saying, according to certain opinions, according to Rav is saying you would pay twice the amount of money is not an issue for you, and you want that collector's item. Good, we're done. All right.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Pleasure. Cheers, man.
Yeah.
Guys.